So, what if progress wasn't a journey you take, but a force of nature that takes you? We're about to dive into this incredible parable about a titan, a colossus who doesn't just walk across a continent, he basically remakes it with every single step he takes. And this quote right here, this is the whole game. You have to get your head around this one idea. The Colossus isn't some traveler looking for a way through. No, he is the way through. It's more like an earthquake than an explorer, An event that literally creates the landscape just by moving. This is the key to everything that's coming.
Okay, so what in the world could possibly be driving a being like this? What's the fuel in that engine? Well, the parable points to something way bigger than just ambition. It's one of philosophy's most powerful and maybe most dangerous ideas. See, this isn't about needs. This isn't about survival. The giant isn't clearing land because he needs a house or something to eat. He's doing it for a feeling, what the parable calls the ecstasy of power itself. It's that raw, overwhelming joy that comes from making the world bend to your will.
And that is the engine, the will to power. This isn't your everyday ambition. We're talking about a relentless, limitless drive that basically demands reality itself rewrite its own rules. To a titan like this, a falling tree isn't a loss, it's the sound of the world learning to obey. But, of course, a will this unstoppable is bound to run into some conflict. Because what one person sees as this glorious act of creation, someone else is going to experience as, well, total annihilation. And this pretty much lays out that whole divide, right? For the creatures living in the forest, it's just destruction, plain and simple. Their entire world is ending. But for the giant, from his perspective, he's not destroying anything. He's engaged in something the parable calls brutal creation. And this really gets to the core of how he sees the world. He looks at a sprawling ancient forest, and he doesn't see a complex living ecosystem. He just sees raw material. It's like a block of marble to be smashed and chiseled into something new. The result of this stride is called cosmic vandalism. I mean, think about that phrase. A scar on the planet as big as the Grand Canyon is, to him, just an accidental scuff mark left by his boot. It's a footnote he's not even aware of, a side effect of a force that never, ever looks back. So what do you even call a force like this? A thing you can't reason with? A thing that doesn't seem to understand consequences or empathy? The parable actually gives it a psychological name. You can just feel the desperation in this question from the spirits of the earth. Why not negotiate with the mountain? It sounds so reasonable, right? But asking it just shows they have no idea what they're dealing with. You don't negotiate with a mountain for the same reason a forest fire doesn't negotiate with the trees. And here's the name the parable gives it: the American Ide. Think of the Ide as that raw, primal, subconscious part of the psyche. It's just a voracious engine of pure expansion. It's not burdened by restraint, it has no foresight, and it couldn't care less about consequences. It just goes forward. Now, in this kind of mindset, the line between two total opposites, progress and violence, it just completely disappears. They just fuse together into one fluid act of unhesitating agency. For the Colossus, to build is to destroy, and to destroy is to build. It's all the same thing. So, after all that, what's actually left behind? What does the world even look like once a force like this has passed right through it? So let's look at the before. Before the Titans showed up, you had this world of incredible, intricate balance. Thriving ecosystems that took millions of years to evolve, with countless little pieces all working together in perfect harmony. And then the after. All of that complexity, it's gone. Wiped clean. And what's replaced it is something simple, sterile, and singular. What's left isn't an ecosystem anymore. It's what the parable calls the architecture of a national will. The world isn't really alive anymore, it's become an artifact. And this is where the parable really elevates the Titan into something like a god. See, he isn't discovering a world that already exists, he's creating a new one in his own image. And when you think like that, the act of violent change gets totally reframed. It's even sanctified. It becomes a heroic act of productive artistry. All right, to wrap all of these huge ideas together, the will, the brutal creation, the total lack of consequence, the parable leaves us with one final, incredibly powerful metaphor. And this one perfectly captures the spirit of this giant. To truly understand this giant, the parable says you have to picture a massive tidal wave. That's it. That's the final comparison. It's not a person, not a monster. It's an elemental force of nature. Huge, powerful, and completely, terrifyingly impersonal.
Just think about that for a second. A tidal wave has no malice. It doesn't hate the shore that it's reshaping. It doesn't mourn the landmarks that it just wipes off the map. It just is. It simply possesses an irresistible, unstoppable momentum. And that, the parable argues, is the real nature of the Colossus.
And that leaves us with one last kind of haunting question to chew on. If a force has zero malice, absolutely no intent to cause harm, can its impact still be considered violent? That's the core dilemma of this whole parable, and it's the thought I'll leave you to wrestle with.